Good evening to the excellent students in PMIN897 D.Min project design. This is your instructor, Dr. Larry Asplund, coming to you at the beginning of the end of Module 2. So I wanted to be able to stop by this evening and welcome you to Week 5 of Module 2. That's the very last step in this process that we have been doing in this module, carefully, step by step, working together in the process of ultimately composing your summary of the literature section for your proposal. So in terms of Module 2, just give you a quick summary of what we've been doing together. The first week, which was week 3, we were just focusing on organizing your research notes. So as you know, the goal is to have a final version of your summary of the literature to be able to just cut and paste into your proposal. So we took a week to organize your notes. You know, the big idea was to make sure you separated out of all of your research notes, those pertaining to the scholarly literature, and then notes that related to Bible, Christian theology and church history, separate them out so that you could develop them and report them separately. Then at the beginning of week 4, we had Collaborate 2, where we unpacked in very great detail what it is that we're doing in Module 2. And of course, I recorded that, so the recording is available for you if you need it. And then last week, this past week, we've been working on the outline, the literature summary outline. And so, you know, there are a couple of ideas for you in terms of organizational ideas. You could just do a standard outline, or there was also that Lit Review map that was available to you. I provided samples of both. But this was just a final opportunity for you to organize your notes, to be able to determine the headings that you wanted in this section, and then under each heading, the key resources. And after you had developed your outline, then it was pretty easy to simply have that in front of you as you composed finally your summary of the literature section for your proposal. So here we are in week 5. Your research notes have been divided into those pertaining to scholarly literature of various kinds, relevant scholarly literature. And then those notes that pertain to the Bible, to Christian theology, and to church history. That's coming up. That's going to be the next thing that we'll work on together. And so the summary of the literature is just designed to report the highlights and the key resources from your notes, from the scholarly literature. And so it's not to be exhaustive or extensive. It's to be a summary. And there, you know, you will be tempted to unpack some of the details from key sources. Save your thunder for Chapter 2 in your dissertation. You are just reporting the highlights in this summary. 10 pages, 12 pages is okay. 15 to 20 is not okay. And so 10 pages, 10 sources minimum. And so it's kind of a simple thing. I know you have more than 10 sources. You could easily write more than 10 pages. Some of you had the opportunity in PMIN700 to work on a review of the literature. Of course, it's not officially the review of the literature Chapter 2 until your chair says it is. So you are kind of reverse engineering. You're starting with that document. You're summarizing it then from how many ever pages you have, probably 25 or so, and you're summarizing it down to 10, and then you're reverse engineering that to report the outline that you used that is reflected in your summary. But nevertheless, it's very, very good for us to work kind of step by step in this process. So in terms of the assignment in week 5, there is a peer review rubric document, which is excellent. One of the things I really love about the peer review documents is that they contain the most extensive description of an assignment anywhere in the course. So more extensive than in the syllabus, more extensive than in the Blackboard course site. This document, so being able to download it and look at it just as a resource is excellent for you. So you will end up posting a document with your lit summary and a brief comment concerning your summary. Last semester, I actually had a student to use the proposal template to submit a copy of her summary of the literature section, which is fine. That's fine to do that. Or you can just put it in a Word document suitable to later on be able to copy and paste, etc. And then use the peer review rubric to provide relevant feedback to at least one other member of the group, and I know you greatly appreciate that feedback. But as soon as you submit your summary of the literature document, I'll jump in and download it. I will probably mark it for you. I will indicate in the grade center that you did in fact fulfill that assignment, and I'll leave you a note saying, by the way, I'm going to be providing detailed feedback by way of an email, a message, so be on the lookout for that. My goal is to work together for you and with you so that in the end you have a section of your proposal that we feel good about, that you can consider to be part then of your final draft of your proposal. So I would rather work ahead here at the beginning. It's actually easier when it's fresh on your mind, and it's fresh on my mind, to offer some simple suggestions, and then to be able to go forward in your development of your proposal. In terms of anticipating Module 3, of course, Module 3 will start in week 6, but it will also be a 3-week module because it's going to deal with the next section of the proposal. So remember, the summary of the literature is going to become Chapter 2 in the dissertation, and the BTH Foundations, as we often call it, is going to become Chapter 3 in the dissertation. So we're taking our time. We're working very deliberately in this process. Module 3 will all be about the biblical, theological, and historical foundations. And it will simply access and report on your research notes that were relevant to the Bible, to Christian theology, and to church history. And we'll take time to unpack that in very detailed way with Collaborate 3, etc. Module 3 will be structured exactly as we did in Module 2. And by the time you're done, I think you'll have a great 10-page, minimum 10-source document that you can easily cut and paste into your final proposal draft. And as you know, we discussed in our Collaborate session, those two sources together usually comprise about 2/3 of your proposal. So once we get past that, I think you'll feel very, very good about your success in this process. Of course, this references a literature review. You're not doing a review of the literature. That's coming up. You're doing a summary of the literature. But you know, I find that most guys and girls that I work with as a chair, a dissertation chair, they just copy and paste at my encouragement, copy and paste the summary of the literature from what will become eventually Chapter 1 from the proposal, paste it into a new document and began to expand upon it. Possibly that's a good time to add sources. It's really not, I don't think it's necessary for you to think about adding sources at this point in time in 897. I'm sure you have sufficient resources to be able to propose a summary. But when you start to write Chapter 2, it's maybe a good opportunity to add some sources, expand upon, unpack the sources that you reported in your summary, and you will go easily. I think you will find easily from 10 pages to 30 pages. So that's the full review of the literature. You're just hitting the highlights and you're reviewing the key sources. It's a very, very good and important exercise for you, and I'm confident in your success. So once again, I'm looking forward to working together with you. I am here. It is my honor to serve you in this process. Never hesitate if you have any questions. And together, we're going to finish the summary of the literature in great shape and then move on to the next part of our coursework together. So God bless you, everybody. Just have a great week 5.